Oh, so I am definitely on a bit of a combiner kick. So why don't we continue that today? All right, buddy, let's put you over here. Hello, welcome back to Outside the Box. Previously, I got through the last few of the Studio Series Constructicons and put together an excellent Devastator that did surprise me a little bit after having put together that really good third-party figure. And so now I want to continue on with the combiner spirit here. We're going back to the previous big box that has 2 more Aerialbots here. I think the other 2 are in the other box. I'm not entirely sure. I hope they are. I'd love to have yet another combiner completed. This guy and this guy. And we'll put you down over here for right now. Keep you ready for another day. But here we have Transformers Age of the Primes, no longer Studio Series. Aerialbot Air Raid. We're going to start with this one. And really the fact that it's not Studio Series doesn't really mean much of anything, right? They technically were not in the animated Transformers movie, but they still get some awesome updated G1 figures. It's kind of surprising how they're doing a whole bunch of combiners nowadays, though, right? We already got the first figure for Bruticus, and he's looking pretty phenomenal. Pretty sure there's other combiners after that as of this recording. I don't think we really know for sure. But yeah, I want them all. Here on the back, we get some awesome shots of the bot and the jet mode here. Some very cool stuff. I think this guy is also an F-15, as are the Seekers. I know they're all different planes. Yeah, it looks like he is. I'm not a technical plane guy, but even if it's not, it's extremely similar where it may as well be one, right? All right, let's get them cracked open here. I did mention before how the Aerialbots for me, it's not that they're boring, but it's just a little bit of a sameness to those guys, especially the limbs. Yeah, they are different jets, but it almost feels like it's a slightly different kind of a jet over a very similar robot body. I don't even know if the transformations are the same. And if they are, it's perfectly fine. Some of the Stunticons have very similar transformations. Some partly do because they're remolds and whatnot. I'll try not to hold that against the Aerialbots though, okay? Very nice, very nice. It's funny, this dude, I don't think he's as big as the Seekers that we have out now. As of this recording, I don't have the new Studio Series Thundercracker. I actually got rid of all of my Seekers. I'm one of those guys. But I think like the Siege Seekers and the updated classic Seeker molds that we had were a little bit bigger than this guy, right? Which I think is fine. You know, scale is never really a crucial thing in G1. But I also think that in the cartoon, I think the Aerialbots maybe weren't quite as tall as the Seekers. I could be mistaken. But it makes sense that they'd be like, you know, Stunticon sized, right? One thing about most Transformers jet and planes is the amount of cable that they have underneath the jet. These guys are definitely no exception. It's like they're almost known for having that kibble under their jets, like pretty much the entirety of the robot body, which yeah, is unfortunate, but because of the simplistic nature of the G1 bots, it's gonna happen. And I'm almost putting this away without even taking out the accessories. Wow, what is wrong with me here? I'm not even saving these boxes anymore. After I open them, they're going right in the trash. Feels so liberating. Oh, whoa, what do we have here? Oh, okay. So he's got 2 weapons. They're both the same, kind of thin in nature, but because of that, they don't have really any hollowing, which I guess is a plus. Yeah, no hollowing on these guys, except maybe this little circle indentation here on the back. I don't know if that's meant to peg somewhere. No, it doesn't look like it. Just a tiny little bit of hollowness. Okay. And looks like there's some additional wings that we're going to attach to the dude. I think they're going to go on the back of the jet. Yeah, I think I see where they go right now, actually. Yeah, this is an F-15. How funny is it that on a simplistic Transformer such as this, he has, right off the bat, what I'm noticing, some very nice wing articulation. That is a must. I think that's a must for Seekers, for almost any jet, to be able to fold the wings just a little bit back. Not even fully back, and not even partially at the wing, but at the base of the wing itself, so it doesn't look weird when you are folding it back. It's like I'm already pre-complaining about Thundercracker, right? Sorry, we'll get to him someday. Let's check the instructions. I'm sure we just plug on the wings and the weapons. Oh, it says to do something funky with the feet, but the feet were mostly fine. We're gonna attach the wings right onto these bottom peg holes here in the back. Or do they get rotated? They must get rotated. They get rotated. Got it. Okay. That's why they're on pegs to begin with. Here, I'll show you on this leg that's closer to the camera. If you orient them in the actual proper jet orientation, it's going to block the footing. So we're going to rotate them up for bot mode. Okay, cool. I'm not sure if that's why it wasn't the G1 toy. Wouldn't be surprised if that's not the case. I think those are a bit more simpler. So as with the Constructicons, yeah, I've never owned any Aerialbots whatsoever, ever, whether it be G1 or Titan's Return or any third party, never had one. Not because I never wanted one, just never really happened for me. And right off the bat, what I'm liking about this guy is the color scheme, black and white with a nice bit of red for the chest there. That's a good mix. That's a good mix. I think what maybe throws me off a little bit is the black on the upper thighs here. I'm not sure if that's how it is in the G1 cartoon or the toy. It could very well be something due to where the pieces were on the mold. I'm gonna go ahead and double check right now. Yeah, I'm not seeing the black on Air Raid's upper thighs. Okay, so it looks like it's a mold issue. And not really that much of an issue, just kind of what had to happen. And looks like on the toy, it also wasn't there. So I'm already thinking eventual repaint, that would just probably get fixed, right? Yeah, it does look a little bit weird to have this little black piece on the upper thighs. It is, of course, the thigh rotation there, but I think having it white as it's supposed to be would just kind of unify the whole look. The majority of the black then would come from the jet itself, which I always like black on Transformers. I think everything looks sexier in black. And this guy is no exception. Because of the minimal nature of the bot though, the wings, which I'll talk about more in the jet mode, they have, it's not really hollowness, and there's a giant peg hole, I'm guessing, for the weapon here at the bottom, but they're not complete. It's more like the frame of what the jet wing would actually be. It's not properly filled in, so I guess technically it is kind of hollowness, right? And on the back, unfortunately, not only are the Autobot logos upside down, but we have a red tampograph right on top of black plastic. And so because of that, that red is almost washed out. You can hardly even see it. Not a good look, not a good look. That again would be fixed with one of our handy dry rub decals. So that's cool. I am really liking the silver on his dome, and then a glossy gray for the face. I would have just expected that it would be entirely silver on the face as well. Having the glossy gray though, that's a nice look. I often debate sometimes when I'm doing the repaints for the faces if I would either do a silver or a glossy gray, because I think sometimes it can look a little bit better either or, but I think the glossy gray tends to be more for a cartoon accuracy kind of a look as opposed to a silver. It would really just be an ongoing debate. I like it here though. I like it here, but I would wonder what would it look like if it was all silver. I'm sure it wouldn't look bad. We have a nice sky blue for the eyes. Really pops. That really does pop actually. That's nice. That is not bad. And now of course, because the Autobot symbol is on white plastic, it is shining brilliantly there. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you know what? I was gonna say that it has as much detailing and panel lining as the Constructicons, but I dare say that this might be like the beginning where they were maybe starting to simplify things a little bit. Thankfully, there is still a good amount of detailing and panel lining. Look at these little ridge lines here. They might not come up very well on camera because it's white plastic, but there's a little bit of some grilling detail, which I would probably pick out on a gray or gunmetal myself. There is no lack of details here on the body. A little bit of red paint here on the shins. That is not bad. That is good stuff. Also, it looks like because the chest was molded in a red plastic, this center bit is actually now painted in white. Has a little bit of extra glossiness to it. Good stuff there. Nice, nice. And this bot overall, good proportions. Looks great. Yeah, he's got the nose cone of the jet. He's got, I mean, it is Kibble City back here, and things are going to move around, and it's going to be a jet with Kibble City in the bottom. But that's how these characters are. That's how they were designed kind of from day one. But you know what? It's supposed to be an Autobot from G1 with some updates to it, and it is exactly that in spades. I think if we take a look at the previous one from Combiner Wars, they took a little bit more liberties from it, which is not a bad thing. It's not incorrect. But the updates were much more of an homage to G1, whereas this is G1 with updates. This is essentially what I want from my Transformers here. Okay, I'm a little bit impressed here by the tiny bit of detailing and paint now on the red crotch. It is red plastic with some tiny drops of white paint for the little triangle and rectangle there on top. The white gets a little bit washed out though because of the red underneath. Still though, I appreciate that a lot. It's gonna be crazy to recreate that too though. But I am up for the challenge. Yeah, this guy's nice. This guy's nice. I like it. I don't know where on the combiner he ends up going, because again, they're all very much kind of the same. The instructions do tell us he's gonna be behind his right leg. Okay, so that's interesting. Now, as of this recording, I do have the DNA kit pre-ordered. Yeah, pre-ordered for this guy. And it's a pretty ambitious kit where, you know, it's one thing to have an extra kit to fill in gappy sections. That's perfect. This kit almost does some redesigns on Superion that I'm gonna have to debate whether I'm gonna utilize them or not. Very much so in the legs, where I think they give us like some new plates to put on the shins, which change the entire look. I guess maybe a bit more G1-y, I'm not sure. Plus a new helmet. I love the articulated hands. We'll talk about him when we get him. But for now, let's check out the F15 mode. Interesting, okay. Is something a little bit off? And of course, the weapons under the wings, a la Seeker mode. And you know what? This is a decent enough looking jet mode here. And it does do quite a bit to mush as much of the robot underneath as possible. You've got the head tucked in between, you know, this black plastic section. So it's not really visible all that much here. Although from down here, you know, it's just Robot City here. But still, I like what it's doing. And if anything, it's like a nice little handle to hold the jet. Is there some kind of a display peg sometimes? I mean, you have some pegs that you can probably utilize here on the back, but having something more in the center would be more helpful for weight distribution. Maybe you can utilize one of the fists, or both even. Actually, do those rotate in? Oh, I missed that. I totally missed that. Where was that step at? There it is. Step number 5. Step number 5. Missed it. Missed it. That's on me. So you're not going to use that as a display peg. That's going to get folded in. If I can show you here. Oh, it doesn't even fold in all the way. I mean, it doesn't need to, right? After it kind of tucks in more than halfway, it pegs into the side right there. Okay. Yeah, it does help though, so that you're not going to see the fists from the top view of the plane. Cool. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. And yeah, it's definitely a bit smaller F-15 jet than we have, I think, for the Seekers. Definitely with the new Studio Series Thundercracker and the new mold that we have coming out, or already out as of this recording here. Still, doesn't need to be the same size, so it's perfectly fine. What's interesting is how a little bit of the front chest that pops out to kind of expose one of the landing gear, but that's really the only one. There is some fake landing gear already molded in onto like the heel of the bot mode, so it's kind of there, right? It's kind of there, and it just helps if it can come up on camera here to have it sit pretty flat on a surface. Cool stuff. But again though, those Autobot symbols are really devastatingly not bright enough. Not as bright as they could be here on the wings. We do have some nice white paint here on the edge of the wing. That definitely helps. And I didn't notice this before, but some gray here on the back wings as well. Very nice silver for the cockpit. I do love that. That is some good stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna do the eventual right side up Autobot symbols on the wings, since they are mostly showing up on the back, and because what ends up being the front of the wing in bot mode, it's not like a flat surface. You have that peg on there. I wouldn't put an emblem on there, right? That's what you end up seeing in the front of bot mode. So if I want them right side up, I guess on the back of bot mode, it would be in this orientation, right? But I don't know. It doesn't really bother me so much what orientation it is for jet. I know that there's like the correct way, which technically this is the real world correct way to have an emblem on a jet wing, right? Great, fantastic. You know what? I'm pleasantly surprised. This is as good as it could have been. This is nice. This is nice, not bad. I don't want to make it seem like I'm, you know, being negative about the figure. It was never going to be something that's like super intricate, like the updated, you know, 86 Thundercracker. And I definitely don't want these to be overly complicated. They weren't going to be that as well. It is fantastic for what it is. Okay. Now though, we have this other one, Transformers Age of the Primes Aerialbots Slingshot. And there's one thing that's very peculiar about this guy. We have an excellent window here showing us the bot mode. Some, you know, nice enough artwork here on the sides. And we get these renders here on the back of bot and vehicle mode. Now this jet, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the jet model, and I don't remember or know what type of jet this is, but it is what Blitzwing was in the Bumblebee movie, right? Yes, I think so. Which is a little bit ironic, right? I like that model though. Now I don't quite remember if the wings really sit that high up on the body. I think they're actually lower down. Again, I could just be misremembering. Whatever the case, this looks like a very nice jet. Let's get him out. Let's get him out. Yeah, stay in the box. Get over there. Get over here. See, already I'm feeling a little bit of that sameness here. Didn't we just open this guy? Thankfully, the face is completely different. Very nice looking weapon still. Maybe a little bit minuscule, but they have a fantastic double barrel on them. That is nice. And because of the small nature of them, quite literally no hollowness on these guys. That's always a nice bonus. Even on the bottom. Well, there is hollowness on the bottom technically, but this is like the type of hollowness that I wouldn't really bother to fill in. You're never really gonna see that when he's holding it or in his jet mode. All right, he definitely needs to have some kind of a completed transformation here. Whoa, what's going on here? Okay, fold the feet out. I'm sorry, oh yeah, fold this wing back. These wings are already back. It doesn't say to separate the legs, but I'm gonna assume you separate the legs. Oh wow, this guy has some stuff going on here. Okay, and this dude ends up being one of the arms. Got it. So he's not a foot, he's not a leg. He does not have the exact same transformation as Air Raid. It's a little bit different. I can't just help but notice though that it's also mostly a white bot with some red in the middle, but now it's also a white jet. We still have some black kind of sprinkled throughout. I'm not even gonna look this up, but I'm gonna guess that this black here on the upper thigh maybe isn't quite like that in the G1 cartoon or the show or on the toy. Perfectly fine, no worries. I like the molding on these feet though. They're quite pointy, they're quite substantial, and they're not stubby. I actually like that. We typically don't see very good feet on many jet dudes. On this guy, they look great. They look great. Bit of hollowness though. Bit of hollowness on the inside here. Maybe you can barely see that due to the lighting here, but that's okay. That could very easily be fixed, but no, wait, no, not really. Not really, no. They do kind of peg together. This other one has a little peg here on the inside, so they're gonna combine for jet mode. Okay. Maybe I can fill in part of them. Maybe I can fill in maybe just like the front section. What's quite impressive though is that what's not originally black plastic has a super glossy coat of black paint. Like in the middle of the chest, middle of the crotch section there, that really shines. Man, look at that. Excellent stuff. I always found it super unfortunate, the color scheme that this dude has for his helmet, for his face. What is going on here, man? What the hell is this? Oh, he's got an unfortunate balding look going on here, and he's trying to hide it with some orange shades? My dude. Oh, now there have been some variations in the coloring of this guy that I've seen in the past. I think sometimes I see him with a silver face and he still has the orange cap, or a silver dome and an orange face. I don't know. I think I may end up trying to change it myself a little bit. At the very least, if I'm gonna keep the visor orange, it would be more of a chromey orange, or in orange where I would do the visor the silver and use like a clear orange coat on top. There has to be something to break up all of that orange on there, man. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. We'll try to get that fixed as well as we can. Also, I'm noticing on this guy, he doesn't have, on the bot mode, any visible Autobot emblem on him. That's kind of unfortunate. I will actually look that up. Oh, it looks like he's supposed to have one on his shoulder, which, depending on where that arm ends up sitting in jet mode, I don't see a reason why we can't add one on there. There is a little doodad, like the most tiny little kind of a wing kind of poking out here from the side, but we still have ample room to add a nice little emblem right there in the side. I may end up doing that. We'll see where it ends up in the jet mode. Hopefully nowhere where it would look weird there, right? I can see some nice Autobot emblems on the wings though, so that's good at least. Still upside down in bot mode, no worries. But just as with Air Raid, he's got a nice proportion to his bot mode. This is essentially a complete bot here. And just at first glance, you wouldn't really make the assumption that it's part of a bigger bot. So that's always a plus. I'm seeing something here that I think we've seen quite a bit with the Stunticons, and unironically, the arms is that on the inside of the knee section, it's a bit hollowy. And of course, we know that's going to be due to the transformation, so there's no real way to get it properly filled in that won't get in the way of the transformation, sadly. This dude is going to have the same gimmick, whereas that little white notch kind of sitting there in his abdomen is going to have something that'll peg in there from Superion's frame to give us that separation for the arm, right? So that's the same then. Okay, cool. I do wonder if it's basically just maybe one of the Stunticons with some heavy retooling. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Maybe just like the chest piece and everything else around it is new, which there wouldn't be anything wrong with it. That's totally fine. And as with the other Aerialbot, this one has his wings here on the bottom behind his legs. That's perfectly fine. Big old nose cone sitting on the back of his head. It's the kibble that we expect from the Aerialbots at this point. Can't get mad at it for that. This is a nice bod, but again, just having a little bit of the deja vu from the previous one, even though it's not the other leg, right? I will say though, these double weapons with the double barrels, pretty freaking badass. That is nice. That is nice. Can't get mad at it for that. Good stuff. Good stuff. And again, we're not gonna get any wrist rotation on any of these guys. He's got quite a bit of, not so much kibbleness, but jet mode section bits covering up sections of the fist. Like you can kind of barely see them, but having that super glossy black paint definitely does help. Plus the fact that it's black as opposed to the white plastic of the jet mode too. Neato. Okay, I want to check out the jet mode. Also 17 steps. Wow. Wow. You know what? This dude, seriously impressed in the transformation department here. Woo! Right off the bat, look at the cleanliness of the undercarriage of this jet. Just by looking at it like this, you don't get any sense of a robot leftover section down here. That just looks like where the bottom of the jet would be. The only thing that you do get is the color breakup here with the red. That, yeah, it's the chest of the robot mode, but it's not really sticking that much further down than where the jet part would actually be. And then the way that the legs do fold into the thighs is something that we've seen before, but this does that so very well. Also, we still get tiny little bit of a landing gear, folds out of the back of Slingshot's head. No, it's not an actual wheel. It was never gonna be that, but that is great. And then we have these little faux wheels just molded in to the bottom sections of where the legs were. And that is just perfect. Now, does it actually sit perfect? Yes, it does. It's only 3 wheels. It's gonna sit perfectly on there. Oh, that's impressive. And then even the legs, the way that they're designed, flip back and perfectly align with the angle of this rear section of the jet. Yes, they're still black, that sticks out, but there's no like little leg things kind of hanging down the bottom. Now, I don't have 86 Thundercracker just yet. I've seen pictures. His undercarriage isn't quite as remarkable, right? Which is okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's kind of a knock against him though. Wow. Anywho, this jet looks phenomenal. We get some nice orange here for the cockpit. It's not like super glossy though, but it's not flat. It's like a half gloss, semi-gloss if you will. That's probably due to the way that the black paint for the nose cone is hella freaking glossy. Looks awesome. Do love it. Nice black stripe running along the center here. And what's impressive is on this rear section, this whole section here splits in half because that's the back of the legs, and the black stripe still sits perfectly symmetrical in the center. There's a little bit of a breakup here in that middle section. I don't know if the G1 toy or the cartoon has it all the way through. It probably does, because it looks maybe a little bit weird to be broken up right there. That's nothing we can't fix here though, but kind of begs the question, why couldn't they just paint it here though? Odd. That's okay though. On this back wing, we have a nice little swooping blue thingamabobber design. Looks nice. It's a bit roundish for what we get this angular striping here on the main wings. And I love the coloration of the blue with the red and then the perfect Autobot logos right there to the side as well. Fantastic stuff. I am liking this a lot. That is really good, man. And of course, the weapons sitting perfectly here underneath the wings. Man, that is so well executed. Wow. Did I have like low expectations for the Aerialbots? I don't think they were low. I think they were maybe just a little bit mid. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I was hoping they wouldn't be terrible. This is quite a bit above and beyond what I expected for this guy, right? Slingshot. Yeah, man, I'm really gonna try and fix that chrome dome head of his. He deserves it. I think he deserves it. Wow, okay. And these two, of course, do look excellent together. Black and white jets. Thankfully, this guy being black, I think it looks a little bit sleeker because of it. I think he needs all the help he can get. Look at this undercarriage on this guy. Look at what's going on in the back. And then look at the lack of undercarriage here, man. Crazy, crazy. But they are both great jets. Yes, Slingshot gets the job done quite a bit better. Quite a bit better. You can't argue with that. I mean, you could argue if you want. I think it looks quite a bit better though. Oh, we have 3 Aerialbots and 2 left. I'm gonna check to see for the next video if they are on the other box. And if so, hope you look forward to it. I know I am. And so far, we've got bangers here. I am happy with what we're getting at this point because we have another leg and the other arm left. I'm hopeful it's gonna be equally as great. Yeah, there'll be different types of jets, but hopefully similar in their execution. And then have, hopefully a pretty fantastic looking Superion. I don't know if it's gonna live up to Studio Series 86 Devastator. They're both doing different things for their combined mode, but hopefully we'll get to check that out soon. Hey, thank you all so much for watching. I always appreciate you all. And if you want to help support the channel, you've already done so. So thank you. But if you'd like to go above and beyond, you can always subscribe, hit that like button, leave a nice comment. Always appreciate it. You can even become a channel member and use some awesome emotes. I'm pretty proud of them. You can also hit up the merch store for some great stuff there. And if you really like to support, hit up patreon.com/hobbies with Jose and check out the different tiers available to you. Buttload of behind the scenes photos and videos of my latest unboxings and latest projects. And you can even help me to decide what I work on next. If for some reason you want to hold off on Menasor. The choice is yours. But as always, folks, remember, keep on customizing and have fun doing it. I will catch you all real soon. Take care, everyone.